Hey guys, and welcome back. Simon here with more Eldritch Moon previews. In today's video, let's look at a running theme reimagined on Innistrad: Flip Werewolves. Since we first traveled to Innistrad, werewolves were noted as one of the unique card types that gave the plane its flavor. From the original block up to Shadows Over Innistrad, werewolves have always been double-faced cards that shared a similar activated flip requirement. To flip a human into a werewolf, no spells could be cast last turn. But if a player cast 2 or more spells last turn, the werewolf would revert back to its human state. This was the golden standard for werewolves, that is, until Eldritch Moon. In Magic's latest set, we're seeing an all-new type of werewolf, and a whole new way to flip them. This is the rise of the Eldrazi Werewolves. Yep, Emrakul has corrupted these once fierce beasts, warping their savage forms into hideous guises of the Titan herself. No longer do they transform on the whims of the magic around them. Now, once Emrakul ushers the change, it's permanent. Let's look at Vildin-Pack Outcast, a 4/4 werewolf horror for 4 generic and a single red. It has trample, and for another red mana, gets +1 -1 until end of turn. This common isn't the shiniest example for the new corrupted werewolf race. With bad fire breathing, it can become at max 7/1. It'll die to a steady breeze, but at least it has trample. But that's not everything to these newly corrupted monsters. If you pay its transform cost, which in the case of Vildin-Pack Outcast is 5 generic and double red, you can flip the creature to its fully evolved form, Drone-Pack Kindred, a 5/7 Eldrazi werewolf with trample. Its bad fire breathing becomes better fire breathing, requiring 1 generic mana to give it +1/+0 until end of turn. So obviously, by transforming the Outcast, you basically get a better card overall. Best part? It won't ever flip back thanks to an opponent playing spells. Of course, you lose the ability to flip for triggers as well, but these werewolves don't seem to focus on that very much. But, while getting the permanent and reliable flip is nice, it comes at a steep cost: 7 mana. And this isn't just an isolated occurrence on this individual card. It seems this effect's gonna be expensive across the board. Here's another example: Kessig Prowler, a 2/1 werewolf horror for a single green mana. That's a pretty decent card all things considered. It's a green elite vanguard, nothing wrong with that, plus it gets the werewolf synergies. But, of course, these aren't your typical werewolves, so you can pay a staggering 4 generic and a single green and flip Kessig Prowler into Sinious Predator, a 4/4 Eldrazi werewolf that can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. Would I pay 5 mana for a 4/4 who can't be blocked by more than 1 creature? Probably not. Now, would I pay that much to change a 2/1 into that when it's later in the game and I need something bigger? Sure, if I had nothing better to do with the mana. That's what I believe this mechanic is really meant for, sinking your mana into improving something that's already done some work for you. It's a way to keep up pressure as the game drags on. Lastly, we have Smoldering Werewolf, a 3/2 for 2 generic and double red. When Smoldering Werewolf enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to up to 2 target creatures. I actually really like this card. It can be used on the second main phase to ping off some wounded blockers, or to just snipe a couple 1/1 flying spirit tokens from the sky. When the usefulness of Smoldering Werewolf ends, which is basically right after it's played, you can pay 4 generic and double red to flip it into Erupting Dreadwolf, a 6/4 Eldrazi werewolf with, whenever Erupting Dreadwolf attacks, it deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Now, this form is probably the best of all 3. Sure, 4 toughness for 6 mana is pretty lame, but with every attack it's dealing damage someplace. That's better than a lot of uncommons out there. The thing is, in total, you've invested 10 mana to get this card where it is. If it's not split up over at least a couple turns, it's just not worth it. The problem all these Eldrazi werewolves face is that they risk being killed off before getting the added benefit from flipping them. Their flip sides aren't amazing, mind you, but neither are their natural forms. Without the promise of that flip, are they even worth the original cost? Sure, paying the mana to flip them permanently takes away the somewhat unreliable method of werewolves past. No longer will they change back to humans at the worst possible time. But look at what that reliability cost you. We've gotten a boring and uninspired version of the creatures that had once been so iconic to Innistrad. I'm not saying that paying a flat fee for their flip is bad mechanically speaking, but it just lacks imagination for this strange fusion of Eldrazi and werewolves. But this isn't the end of the werewolf line. We've already seen a quote-unquote normal werewolf in Ulrich of the Crowlin Horde in Eldritch Moon, and I bet there's still more to come. These Eldrazi Werewolves just stand as a means of having some guaranteed flips in the tribal. I just hope they're supplemented by more of the old-styled werewolves and we don't drown in these new Eldrazi versions. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what you think about these 3 preview cards and the new Eldrazi Werewolf flip mechanic in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to stay up to date on all the latest Eldritch Moon spoilers, news, and lore. As always guys, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you next time.